Welcome, 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 everybody. I'm Coach Les, and I'm here with Mr. Yarwood, and we are on episode 78.
75.
75? Oh, man, I
Where'd
jumped
you get
away.
78, man? You just said you were not getting old, and then here you are forgetting.
It's because we've been waiting so long to get on tonight. I thought 3 of them went by already. And tonight we're going to be talking about action versus inaction and the cost the cost of waiting makes numbers bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let Mr. Yarwood say his opening thought. First, I'm going to say mine. And that is the conversation about people go, "Oh, I'm just going to take a break. I'm on a break. I'm taking some time just to chill." Well, we live in a world where you're either expanding or contracting. The law of entropy. It is impossible to sit still and do nothing. Therefore, when you think you're sitting still doing nothing, you're actually shrinking. So if that is a choice that you wish to make, by all means, make it powerfully and know that that is what you are up to. If you are not up to that game, then get yourself off the couch, off your arse, and get moving. So that's my opening thought. Over to you, Mr. Yarwood.
Yeah. Action is what makes everything happen, right? We can talk all we want, say all we want, whatever. If we don't do anything about it, it doesn't matter, right? You can have the greatest idea in the world and talk about it all day long. If you don't do anything about it, it's not an idea at all. It's not going to do anything, right? And when you talk about motion, if you're moving forward and you keep going, things happen. If you stop, everything else passes you by. And now you got to work doubly hard to catch up, just to catch up, right? You're not even going to get ahead. You're just going to barely catch up. So, I mean, we all need breaks along the way, but it's how you structure your breaks and how you structure your time off and how you structure your inaction, I guess you could say, that makes the difference, right? I always say, do it today, take off tomorrow, right? And then what happens? Get to the next day, do it today, take off tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. It's always tomorrow, right? So just keep working, keep pushing, keep grinding, get moving. That's the biggest thing is if you're not making a decision and then acting on it, then you're not doing anything. It's a waste of time, waste of energy. Just do it, as Nike says.
And there's a ton to be said about what Nike said, right? The marketing people that created that have created it to get you off the bench, to get you moving.
Yep. And then you put their shoes on and go do it.
Exactly. Whichever one of the 500 brands that they may have.
Yep.
So, and I like the I'm gonna steal your opening thought here and let people know the opening thought that you created. Most people don't fail because they make bad decisions. They fail because they don't make decisions at all. And I'm going to throw something back on that and say they are making a decision. The decision they're making is to make no decision. That is a decision.
Yep.
And people are not responsible today for the fact that they make that.
Yep.
right? You know, one of the political things of today, right, is ICE in Minnesota. Well, ICE has been in Minnesota. It's not yes, it's new in its size and its veracity and what some of the stuff that's happened. Yes, and we're not going to debate that. I'm not going to debate it. I'm not going to pro or con it. What I find is funny, kick ICE out of Minnesota, and people make that comment. Well, that defies both political sides, because it's been an institutionalized thing coast to coast for decades.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't just pop into being.
Yep.
So I find some of these statements that people make, media make, um, you, you know, they say these radical statements like, "We want this," blanket, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, wait a minute, do you even understand what that action versus inaction is going to create,
Mm-hmm.
or what that inaction versus action is going to create, like the ramifications? And I think so many people don't understand the consequences of some of the things that they say.
They don't look past those decisions.
You know, so when you mention, the core idea here, action creates momentum, inaction creates regret. There is no neutral gear in life. Exactly. And the number of people that put their car into neutral, expecting neutral, it, it makes me laugh because it's so futile.
Yep. Neutral is not moving anywhere, not doing anything. That's what it means. Not doing anything, not making any decisions.
and
I
and go ahead.
I was gonna say decision making. So when you're planning to do something, right? And it's I can equate it to leadership, right? You're a leader and you have to make big decisions or little decisions, right? If you have a big decision to make, you're not quite sure, not making a decision is worse, right? So iterative decision making is better. You make a little decision and then adjust, and make a little decision and adjust. So you're moving forward. You might not be moving forward exactly the way you want to go, but you got at least something, some momentum going forward, right? So you move a little bit this way, then move a little bit that way, then a little bit this way. Eventually you get to where you need to go. And that big decision is no longer big. It's a bunch of little decisions that got you to where you need to go, right? You don't have to make the one giant, massive decision all at one time. Break it down into smaller little ones. Go, okay, if I do this, I can go over here. If I do this, I can go over here. Eventually, you get to where you need to go. So when you have that iterative decision-making process, you're still moving forward. You're still getting somewhere. Not necessarily the full speed, but you're not stopped and you're not going backwards.
And I love what you wrote here on some of the benefits of taking action, right? Clarity comes after you move. Yeah, the clarity of what that move has created for you
Yep.
versus no move.
Yep. Think about you're standing in the woods and literally there's a tree right in front of you, right? And you have to get to the other end of the woods, but you can't see it. All you have to do is step right or left and look on the other side of the tree. Make one little decision move, and oh, hey, all of a sudden the whole thing opens up for you, right? Instead of
Yep.
just standing there going, this tree's in my way. I'm never going to find where I need to go.
And, and over time, and you have it written here, by confidence is built through doing. When you take those actions may not be successful actions. They may fail. And that's the beauty, because in sales, one of the things that we say is, that's not it, that's not it, that's not it, that's not it. What's going to rise up in the middle? What's going to rise up in the middle is what it is.
Yep.
Eventually, it's going to rise up. it's a matter of inevitability. And I think people forget that. And we grow by failure. If we were successful 100% of the time, it would be pretty dull. We'd
Mm-hmm.
be pretty. I can't even imagine what a person would be like if they never had a failure.
Yep. Those people who go through that, who like live life, maybe they're a talented athlete that's always been pushed to the front. They've always been given everything. They've never had to struggle. They've never had to worry about stuff. They're the best guy on the team, so they don't have to practice as hard. All those things have been just laid out for them, right? The one time that they actually fail, they're done because they don't know how to handle it, right? They've never understood what it meant to fail, right? They've never had to make a decision about what they're going to do, right? They're always here. This is for you. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're the best, so you don't have to play as hard, but you get to go. All those things have just been dropped in their lap, and they've never had to make a decision left or right, forward or back. And when it finally comes to a point where they have to make a decision and on their own and they fail, it sets them back immensely because they don't know how to handle it, right? Making little decisions along the way, making choices for yourself is what makes you grow. Especially the failed ones, right? But if you're never allowed to fail in the first place, you're never allowed to make a decision in your life, you're always pushed one way or the other, it ain't going to work.
Yeah. So the question then becomes, right, as we look into this and dig into this, what are the things why do people not take action? And how do we coach through that? And in your world as a martial artist, what are some of the reasons martial arts support you in this game?
It's innumerable. There's so many different avenues that action is the most important thing you can do. I mean, you just start with earning your rank, right? The most basic thing. If you don't come to class, if you don't practice, if you don't take action to learn the form, if you don't learn the self-defense that we're doing, that you don't learn how to spar, you don't learn whatever it is, if you're not taking action and learning how to do all those things and practicing and training, you won't get your next rank, much less black belt. You got to get up your butt first and get to class. And then once you're in class, you got to do what you're taught. And then once you learn something, then you got to practice it. And then you got to study it. And then you got to practice it more and then come back to the next class and learn a little bit more. It's little steps, little actions, little momentum that creates the bigger role, right? And if you start without doing those things, you're not going to get where you need to go. Inaction is you'll quit because everybody else is still moving forward. We work in 8-week cycles, right, for color belts, right? And we get you through by week 8, you're going to test for your next rank. And if you're not ready, you don't test, which puts you behind your peers, right? Puts you behind a whole rank to get to black belt, which takes that much longer. Now you added 2 months to your training. So that inaction, that deciding not to practice, not to show up for class, not to do all that stuff, costs you. And taking action and getting to class, I mean, the fact is getting to class alone will get you that much further, right? I'm not a big fan of showing up and you get points. Yay, right? You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do.
The
But if
showing
you
up,
don't,
the showing
but if
up.
you don't show up, it ain't gonna happen. You have to at least have to be there. And then once you're there, I'll get you on the mat and get you working, get you going. But if you don't show up in the first place, there's nothing I can help you with.
Yep.
And it's up to you to do that. There's no way for me to motivate you, right? I can make you do things, but I can't motivate you. You have to motivate you. And motivation is fleeting, right? It's the discipline that keeps you coming back. The decision making to, oh, I got to go to class. Oh, I got to go to class. Man, class is hard today. Oh, whatever, right? You don't make those decisions, it ain't going to happen.
And and for me, I look at it, it's not like there aren't things that happen in life, right? The question is, do you allow that to completely derail you and stop you
Mm-hmm.
from moving anywhere?
Yep.
And are you in communication about it? Right? I think um, I think one of the ways to overcome this is to learn to be able to say, look, I'm a no, here's what's going on, and I'm going to create the possibility of yes, and here's what I'm putting into the future.
Yep.
The people that just say no and they're done, I think they miss out.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's opportunity, right? Opportunity plus action is going to equal your success, right? If you have an opportunity arise, but you don't do anything about it, but you say, like, maybe it's the opportunity you've been waiting for, you've been talking about, like, it's in your business, you've been working 4 or 5 years for this big, all I need is that one big account and everything will be great, right? And that account, it shows up, but it doesn't show up the way you think it was going to show up. Maybe it's just somebody that knows somebody that can help you, but maybe you don't bother to follow up with that person. And then later on down the road, you find out who they really were, and you missed that opportunity because you didn't take action to find out what was going on, right? All you had to do was talk to that person. They put you in touch with this other person, and suddenly your whole world opens up, right? But you don't take. You say, nah, that's all right. I don't. You want to go to coffee? No, I'm too busy. I got work that day, right? You miss an opportunity, boom, right? You don't take action. It's just a little decision to go spend 5 minutes with this guy and get to know this other guy that he knows that runs this giant company that is your perfect account, right? That inaction cost you exactly what you were trying to do, and it's not ever going to come back.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you say that, because I think one of the things that is so powerful, and I'm sure you've heard it, when you want something done, don't give it to the person that isn't doing anything.
Yep.
Give it to the busy person, because they'll figure out how to get it done.
Yep. I experience that all the time. That's the but it just, to me, inaction is inexcusable. And then what makes it worse is that the next step is then you complain about your position. You complain about what's going on in your life. You complain about what you don't have and what everybody else does have. It's like, you are responsible for you, right? If you don't have something that you want, it's not somebody else's fault. It's your fault.
Yeah.
You got to go get it. You got to go do it, right? If you sit back and point fingers and blame everybody else, that's worse than inaction. That's taking negative action. You're blaming everything, right? And it's more detrimental than just sitting down and not doing anything, because now you're creating this facade in your life that everybody's against you, and even if you do something, it's not going to matter because everybody else is way ahead of me and they already got all this and blah 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 blah, right? And then now you get into the excuses realm, and it just makes things worse and worse. So if you're not even doing anything in the first place, then you have nothing to say about anything else. You can't make excuses for things you didn't do for what other people have.
And I think sometimes, I'll be honest, that isn't easy. It's
Oh, no,
hard to
not at
be in.
all. It
It's
is.
hard to be in that spot,
Yep.
you know. I mean, I've been injured twice in the last 2 years, both of which have taken me out of training. And to come back is humbling. It's at some level degrading because you come back and you can't even do what you did.
Yep.
And then you come back and you see bad habits, which is even worse. Because now you got to stop the bad habit and create and recreate something that's not a bad habit and do it over again. So you got to go back to the beginning,
Yep.
and then you get in and something, the next thing takes you out, right? So it a lot of times, and for me, my journey to black belt occurs right now like Mount Everest. And each time there's been a massive storm, you know, all the oxygen leaked out of all the tanks, so we couldn't go, or, something's happened. And, you know, I just keep putting it out there and keep putting my word out there. I'm not going to stop. It may not go the way I see it going. It may not go at the speed I see it. It may not go at the speed of the people around me. And I'm watching people become black belts around me. People that I was training next to.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, they were asking me for advice because I was the hardcore trainer between the two of us. And it is the way it is.
Yep. But there's that old saying, if it's easy, everybody would do it. Even then, even if it was easy, not everybody would do it because they're lazy and don't want to take action on stuff.
Yep.
Right? You can hand it to them on a silver platter, and it's like, how come the platter's not gold? All right, whatever.
Yeah.
It's always something.
If you want an excuse, you can find one.
Oh yeah, they're free and they're everywhere.
Yeah, excuses are like reasons. They can be made up and invented for every single paradigm.
Yep.
It's very interesting. I used to work with an organization called Landmark, and one of the course that I led for 6 years, the Self-Expression Leadership Program, it had an exercise on one of the weekend days of training, and the exercise was called the Reasons Exercise. And for the space of an hour, which seemed like 10 hours, the exercise was, okay, get out your notebooks and write, right? And so everybody had to have a pen. Everybody had to, this was all done with a pen and paper, right? And you had to talk about your community project that you had and why you were doing it. And if you were talking to your mom, what would you say to your mom? What's the reason you're doing your project? And then you write a note. 30 seconds later, if you were talking to the president, what is the reason? Right? And you write it. And you start to see that reasons are all made up. Right? What you would say to the president is very different than what you would say to a homeless person that you were just, dared into going up to and telling about your project, right? What you would say to your significant other would be very different than what you might say to your, professor.
Yep.
And so the idea and the learning behind that exercise was for people to understand that we are a uh, flesh bag of reasons.
Yep, it's infinite amounts of excuses. You can come up with an excuse for anything. Any excuse will do. Doesn't matter. They're easy. Dime a dozen.
Yes, they are.
If it's hard, takes work, then you make an excuse and you don't feel like doing it. Nope. I got a thing. I got a thing.
I got a thing. You know, if you look at one of the things that people love so much, diamonds, right? A lot of people love diamonds. The pressure and how hard it is to make a diamond and what it goes through to become a diamond is very symbolic.
Yeah.
So, some of the tips and techniques you put here, I think are great. How to become an action taker. Number one, shrink the target to one small step.
Yep. That's what I talked about. That iterative decision making.
Take action within 24 hours. Don't wait.
Mm-hmm. Even faster if you can.
Yeah. Focus on reps, not results.
Yep. Because that's where the training happens. That's where the learning happens. That's where the failing happens. Like think about weightlifting. You go do reps and you do 4 reps. They feel pretty good. That last rep, you might not get it, but you're not going to know if you don't even try.
Build identity as someone who executes.
Mindset.
Yep.
Tell
Mind,
yourself, I do stuff. Other
mind
people see
over
it.
matter.
Other people see you doing stuff, right? That it's that you tell yourself that you're going to do it, and then you go do it, and then you get to the point where you're not thinking about it anymore. You're just doing stuff. You're just doing it. You're not going, I wonder if I should do that. You just go do it. It turns into automation versus just thinking about stuff.
Yeah. And I love your closing thought, right? A year from now, the difference won't be talent or luck. It will be whether you moved or you waited.
Yep. Think about a year ago. Where were you a year ago? Did you like it? Are you in a better position now, or are you in the same position, watching everybody else pass you by? Where are you going to be in a year? Do you want to be further ahead, or do you want to be where you are right now? Because I guarantee you, you're not going to be where you are right now. You're either going to be ahead or behind. That's it. You don't get to just stay where you are.
Yeah. So with that, as we come close in on 30 minutes today, I think this is, been a great topic. And, thank you, Miss Yarwood, once again, for session number 75.
Not 78.
Yeah. And for those of you that are listening to this after we're done and coming back through and listening it on the replay, remember, if decision making were easy, everybody would be a decision maker. On the DISC assessment path, the people that are Ds, a lot of which are owners of companies, the reason that only 10% of the world's population are Ds in this particular scale is because God is merciless. He's merciful, excuse me. There have to be people that are come in and plug in and do their job and go home. So if that is you, Don't listen to what we say as a knockdown about who you are. My challenge for you is to find what you are passionate about. If you're passionate about your home life and being with your kid or your significant other or with your dogs or with your horse, whatever it is, do it 100%.
Yep. Be the best at it.
Be the best you can at whatever it is that you're doing. And that best that you are doesn't mean it's better than anybody else. It could be that there's hundreds of people that are better than you. Well, one of my coaches said to me, Les, there will always be someone better than you at something. No matter how good you get to be, there will always be someone better.
Yep.
And that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not good. It doesn't mean you can't excel. It doesn't mean you can't grow.
You just turn it into an excuse. He's better than me, so why bother?
Yes. So any closing thought, Mr. Yarwood?
I don't know, just get off your butt and go do something. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, bluntly, get off your butt and go do something that's meaningful, that has value to it. Go make yourself a better person. Go help somebody else become a better person. You help somebody else become a better person, you become a better person.
Mahatma Gandhi and Mother Teresa both said, lose yourself in the service of others and your life will be beyond rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a whirl.
Yep.
All right. We'll see
Take action.
We'll see you next week.